Hey folks, I'm going to walk through the DREAME X60 Max Ultra Complete Robot Vacuum and Mop, because I know a lot of you have been staring at the endless list of robot vac from tiny but clever to full-blown floor care machine and wondering if any of them actually live up to the hype without stealing a chunk of your budget. The biggest hesitation I hear is, will this thing actually clean my house the way I need it to, or will it end up as a pricey paperweight? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review I'll focus on real-world usage, hidden trade-offs, and exactly who will get value out of the X60 Max and who would be better off looking elsewhere. First, let's set the scene. I have a 2-story townhouse, hardwood on the main floor, low-pile carpet in the bedrooms, and a small kitchen area with tile. My daily routine is a quick coffee in the morning, a short workout, and then a work-from-home day that ends with a quick dinner. The floor tends to collect pet hair, cereal crumbs, and the occasional spilled sauce, so I need a robot that can handle both dry debris and light wet mopping without me having to drag a traditional vacuum around. That's the sweet spot the X60 Max markets itself for, a ultra-complete solution that vacuums, mops, and even has a side brush for edges. The question is whether it delivers on that promise in a typical household like mine. Let's talk about the setup. Unboxing the X60 Max is straightforward. The box contains the robot, a charging dock, a spare side brush, a mopping pad, and a small water tank. The app-guided pairing process takes about 5 minutes, and the device immediately prompts you to map your home. The mapping is done via LiDAR, which is a solid choice for navigating around furniture without bumping into everything. I ran the initial scan across my living room and hallway, and the robot completed the map in under 10 minutes. That initial effort is where the value starts to materialize. You spend a little time teaching the robot its terrain, and it remembers those routes for future cleanings, which means fewer random bumps and more efficient paths. Now on to daily usability. I set the robot to run every evening at 7 p.m. and let it take care of the floor while I'm cooking dinner. On hardwood, the suction feels adequate. Small crumbs, hair, and dust are lifted into the bin without leaving a trail. The side brush does a decent job around the kitchen island edges, a spot where my previous robot left a noticeable line of debris every time. In the carpeted bedroom, the X60 Max's default suction mode handles pet hair reasonably well, though you'll notice a bit more shedding on very thick carpets. If you have a high-pile rug, the robot may miss some of the deeper particles, so that's something to consider. The mop function is where the ultra-complete label is tested. The integrated water tank holds enough liquid for a medium-sized room, and the robot follows the same mapped route while dragging the damp pad. For light spills, think a juice splash or a thin layer of dust, the mop does a satisfactory job. However, it's not a heavy-duty floor washer. Thick, sticky messes required a second pass, and the pad had to be rinsed and re-wet to avoid spreading grime. In practice, you'll get the best results if you reserve the mop for regular maintenance rather than expecting it to replace a thorough manual mopping session. One practical strength that stands out is the side brush combo. Many competing robots either have a single brush or a rotating side brush that tends to get tangled. The X60 Max's side brush is detachable and designed to sweep along baseboards and tight corners. I tested it on a narrow entryway where my cat tends to sit, and the brush cleared the hair along the wall without getting jammed. That small detail translates into less daily maintenance for you. The main brush isn't constantly overloaded with debris that would otherwise be handled by the side unit. On the flip side, a noteworthy weakness is the bin capacity. The collection bin is roughly the size of a soda can, which is typical for robots, but if you have a pet that sheds heavily or a home that accumulates a lot of debris, you'll find yourself emptying it more than twice a day. The robot will pause and beep when the bin is full, which is helpful, but it does interrupt the cleaning cycle until you clear it. Also, the water tank is detachable, which is good for refilling, but you have to remember to secure the cap tightly. A loose cap can cause the robot to stop mid-mop, leaving a streaky patch behind. Battery life is another real-world consideration. The X60 Max advertises about 150 minutes of run time on a full charge, and in my real-world usage that held true for a single floor clean. Once the robot finished the living room and hallway, it returned to the dock automatically. If you have a larger home or multiple floors, you'll either need to run it twice.